For 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Chair Clyburn. Can the staff put up the diagram for me? Well, they may not be able to. Oh, there it is. Ms. Lucas, I have a few questions about a book that you authored in 2006 called The Politically Incorrect Guide to Women, Sex, and Feminism. You wrote that book in 2006, right?
Yep.
And as you can see from this rather provocative cover, there's some bullet points that are very interesting on this particular page. Let me just start with the bottom bullet point. It says, and you wrote this, correct? Most women want a husband and a strong family, but quote unquote independent feminists pine for a sugar daddy in Uncle Sam, correct?
Yeah, I did
And
write
then
that.
You also wrote the following, you said, why the happiest women spend more time with their families and less time at work. And then in parentheses, you said, because you can't outsource parenting. You wrote that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me just ask Ms. Forbes, Ms. Forbes, do you consider yourself somebody who is fulfilled in your job and that's why you're kind of going to work and having to get childcare at the same time?
Thank you for your question. I am a very passionate person about what I do. I love working. I love my job as an early educator, and I'm growing a business as an early education consultant. And it's very challenging for me to not have that outlet for my intelligence and my passion and creativity.
Yeah, I think, it looks like Ms. Lucas may not think you're as happy as you could be. In fact, in the first bullet point, I'll just read what you said. You said, careers can be baby deniers. Women can't postpone childbearing without serious consequences. That's your first bullet point, right, Ms. Lucas?
Yes, sir. I think there's a lack of.
You spent a career at the organization that you were at. In fact, in 2006, you were the vice president there, and today you're the president of that same organization. You spent 15 years there, which is a good, successful career there, right?
Yes, sir.
And you have at least 5 children, isn't that right?
I have 5 children. Yes, thank you.
And it looks like your career did not prevent you from raising children very successfully. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Looks like for other people, however, it's very difficult for them to potentially raise children.
No, sir. We've looked at. There's a lot of
having a fulfilling career. Let me ask Betsy Stevenson a question here, because Ms. Lucas has been highly critical of institutionalized daycare. In fact, she considers that to be a very negative influence on children and their futures. But I'm hearing a totally different story from Betsy Stevenson based on the actual data. Ms. Stevenson, do you agree with the conclusion that institutionalized childcare that would be provided by quote unquote Uncle Sam, according to Ms. Lucas, would somehow would have a negative impact on children?
I think that the American public school system, K-12, has been an enormous success. And in fact, go back to the idea of what have we learned from the greatest generation? Americans built high schools when no other country in the world was, and it's actually what fueled our growth in the last century. I think what will fuel our growth in this century is actually expanding education down to our youngest citizens. So, and the evidence suggests that center-based care, that's curriculum-based, that is developmentally appropriate, does generate massive benefits for children, because the science tells us when children develop.
Let me interrupt for 1 second. Ms. Lucas also said on page 197 of her book, families who want to keep a parent home with their children shouldn't have to pay taxes to support daycare for other people's children. How do you respond to that, Ms. Stevenson?
Well, first of all, those children are allowing parents to go to work, and the parents are paying taxes on that income that they're earning while their kids are in childcare. That childcare is also allowing those kids to earn more as adults, and they're going to pay taxes on that. Actually, the bigger problem is that when people stay home and provide care for their children, they're providing a valuable service for their family. And unlike traded services, they're not actually taxed on those goods that they're creating and the value that they're providing for their family.
Thank you so much. I yield back.
Thank you, gentlemen, for yielding back. I think that no other